Hey guys, not gonna lie to you, I tried to film this earlier. I'm gonna film it again now, and you guys are gonna cook with me because, well, I'm really glad I grabbed diced tomatoes now because I didn't even realize that this needed tomatoes. We're making a Taco Bell copycat recipe today because I felt like being a little lazy, but first I'm gonna go grab the diced tomatoes. Diced tomatoes. So basically, I'm going to be cooking and doing my 2023 wrap up kind of video and a 2024 complete video. And I totally realized in the video that I did earlier too that I was actually missing a book in my actual wrap up because I completely somehow forgot about it, though I talked about it. So yeah, we're just gonna do it like that. And we're going to go from there and we're going to try to get this all cooked and good. So, first we're going to grab the pan and get this started. And then I will talk to y'all. So, gas stove, Kimberly's worst enemy. Beautiful. And we're going to grab 2 water bottles actually though. Again, we're just skipping steps. We're going to use these because they're basically a little over 4. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're not using butter either. So, you guys are aware that this thing hates me. Apparently. That was terrifying, not gonna lie. How high do I have that? Apparently too high. So we're gonna turn it down. Okay. So as you guys know, I wasn't the most active person on here, but that is going to change. It is going to get better, and I realized I did not need this big of a pot for one thing of Spanish rice, but that's besides the point. But you're not going to get a vlog for November or December. You might get a couple of clips here and there mixed in with other videos when I do talk about other things, but stuff happened. I'm obviously not where I used to be. I'm filming in a kitchen. I am filming currently at home, making sure, everything's good. Alright, currently filming at home, and I'm cooking dinner, because I did move, and it's been a great time. It's just been a lot, because I moved in the middle of the holidays, or Christmassy time. Other than that, basically, I did stuff, Holidays was a mess. I was working 2 separate jobs, the part-time one and the full-time one, which is the complete opposite, part-time and full-time. I ended up quitting my full-time job and going to the part-time as a full-timer. They convinced me. I'm really excited to start tomorrow, which will be January 3rd. So hopefully we can get all of a sudden excited. And I am exhausted too, so if I sound a little off, I've just been cleaning. Because I apparently like to, overboard like my mother does when, I move. So, which isn't really overboard, it's just, typical cleaning stuff, but, a little overboard. So, other than that, a bunch of moving stuff, all the work, literally end of November all the way through now, doing stuff. And it just kind of hits you all hard. So that happened, but steps to move forward is I'm actually have a planner, which I am using as my list as well, currently. So I'm going to quickly open the planner and show you guys at least today's as my light just moved. That basically, everything that I've done, my schedule completely through, priority lists, all that stuff. There's also a reading planner on here, finances, all of that. So I'm not going to show you guys all of that, but I am going to fix it. That is how I am going to fix it. And it is what it is. And I need to add the rest of this now. So we're going to do that real quick, and I need this can opener. So while that's going, why don't we start going over some of our goals from 2023 that are going into 2024 now that we have all this other stuff figured out. And the first thing is definitely, as I'm looking up recipe for, what's it called right now? My brain's not working. Alrighty. So, 2023 reading goal was to read 12 books. If you've watched any of the vlog videos or anything like that, you definitely know that I definitely succeeded plus some on that department. So, I mean, good on me, right? So, I succeeded in that goal back in May. I had that, 50 challenge. I had my 24-hour reading challenge. I had, as well as garlic powder, salt. Yeah, the 24-hour reading challenge. And then I was just like, I want to finish as many books as possible. So, you know what? That's what I tried to do. And that's what I did. So, in total, I read 77 books. Which, let's be honest here. For me, that is absolutely impressive as heck. So, because the year before in 2022, I only read 6 books. And it was kind of like pulling teeth a little bit. So, it was what it was. I'm almost out of chili powder, so I'm really glad that I had him grab another one. So, essentially, we blew that right out of the water. And we're not going to complain about it because it's impressive as hell. So, from there, this year we have 2 separate goals. But first, we're going to talk about the fact of what books were my 5-star reads. And while that's happening, I'm also going to be grabbing them. So, ask me how I'm going to do all that. That's beyond me. Alright, I need this for a teaspoon because I, unfortunately, am the dingling that didn't make sure I had teaspoons before I moved in, and I want to bake and stuff, and now I really can't. So, there's that. So that would be a tablespoon if I'm quadrupling it, and a teaspoon. So, same thing with this. The first one that I can actually talk about is one that I don't own. So, that worked out beautifully, doesn't it? Right? So, that one would be Legend Board by Tracy Dion. So, what I really liked about it right off the bat was I saw it, noticed it was BICOP, and I was trying to read a little bit more diversely because I realized I don't have any diverse books on my shelf. I read it, and it was a basic modern retelling of Arthur and Merlin, and let me tell you, that stuff was my first 5-star read of the year at that point. I think that was around April, May-ish. So it was like one of my last books of my goal. So, but basically this girl ends up getting into the school of her dreams with her best friend, and they end up going out one night, and one wanted to, the other one really didn't want to. She ends up finding out that she can see things that not all the other students can see. And then she runs into a, morally gray character, we're going to call him. He seems very interesting. And you find out that they're a part of this secret order, so to speak. And the secret order are basically past generations, but not at the same time. They're the modern generation of the Round Table. And from there, I can't really tell you much without spoiling it, but let me tell you, I read that 450-page book in one sitting. It was very impressive, very fun, very easy to eat up and just get done. So, with that, my taco seasoning is all done. We're going to grab the second book that was 5-star. That was actually suggested by my boyfriend, and it was part of my TikTok video if you saw it, which was my boyfriend picked my book, because I didn't want to buy anything, and he was buying books, and I'm like, you know what, pick a book for me that you think you'll also like, and that is Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. This is so hard to explain how it was, but oh my goodness, before I finished this, which it was one of my first real fantasies, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I'm not, like, big on it, because it was too much for me to comprehend. When Destiny Calls, there's no fighting back, and then I always read the last one. Practically a prisoner, Kieran discovers that being a long-lost prince is nothing like the storybooks promise. The storybooks have lied about a lot of things, too. Dragons, demons, gods, prophecies, true love, and how the hero always wins. Then again, maybe he isn't the hero after all, for Kieran is not destined to save the Empire. He's destined to destroy it. This, I was really mad that I couldn't just sit there and read this book. Let's just put it that way. Alright. I just wanted to eat it up. So before I even finished the first book, I ended up going to Toadstool Bookstore, which is a local mom and pop in my area, which I'm sure you guys saw what happened back in June when I shopped there for one book before. But I did. I managed ish. I got the second book, which turned into the third book, which I got a signed copy thing for, which was amazing. Because first fantasy, first thing I let my, like, partner pick for me, and it was a 5-star read. So he's, like, so scared to pick another book. Not even gonna lie, he's like, no, I don't even want to pick it because I don't want to get it wrong. And I'm like, well, you know, that kind of sucks for me because I totally want you to pick another book because that was jamming. So he actually picked a book that he read. So we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna go from there. I didn't run out of paprika, so we're gonna read that. But the book is epic, and there's 5 books. So I didn't find out about 5 books till I already picked up the other 2. He wanted me to get the second book to the new John Gwynne trilogy that's coming out, and the third book isn't out for it yet, which I think was Hunger of the Gods, and he ended up doing it, and I found out there was a 4th book on the back of the 3rd book, obviously. So then I asked her, and she was like, all right, Kim, I think I got you. Let me go check for it. I'm like, thank you. So she goes over and looks for it, and she's like, I got some bad news for you. And I have the 4th book, but I'm like, I just swore, and I did not mean to. She bursted out laughing at me, and I'm just like, there's another book. And I'm like, please tell me this is, like, completed. And she's like, yes, it is completed. It's a completed series. Like, you're all set there. And I'm like, perfect. But there's another book, so I'm like, okay. Cool. Just put them all there, and I'll get them when I get there. I didn't realize there was only one more after that, so, like, that obviously felt so much better. Obviously. And from there, oof, we're grabbing a pan for the burger. We got those books. I haven't actually read the rest of them, because I got wrapped up on all these books everybody wanted me to read with them this year, which was insanity, and then I completely forgot, so I'm totally not rereading that this year, but it is what it is. It's gonna go with my impossible goal, and my partner's already like, please don't actually try to do it. You guys know me better than that. You know I'm gonna try to do it, but I am not sacrificing my mental health because depression really stinks, especially because, like, it did kick in with the moving, the changing of jobs, and all of that. So from there, we're going to go into the fridge, and we're going to sneak out the burger. We have another book that I'm going to grab, which was my next 5-star read. So I'm out of the picture. I do apologize that I'm out of the picture. I read the first 2. They were very impressive. I read them each in one sitting, and then this one I also read in one sitting. Funny story was, this was apparently on hold. But I went there because they told me to just come because it was on the shelf, which means it wasn't really on a hold, and they had it, which was Conjuring of Light, which I now own. This was a 5-star. 100%. If you've read the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab, you know I'm impressed. Again, it's a fantasy that I did not even expect to like very much, and I ended up absolutely adoring. The characters were very filled out. They were all, not Dundiddle, jeez. They were all very, like, fleshed out. The first couple books, like, one of them was definitely not fleshed out, but that was the entire point of the character. But I did find, like, the MCs at that time very, very annoying, and I didn't like them. So, but Cal gets what he needs in a sense, and not what he wants, which is what I love in a good book. I really don't like it when the characters get what they want. I like it when they get what they really needed all along. But it's not a happy story either. Basically, the anti-hero villain character has such an arc in that last book that alone made it a 5-star. And all the burger did not come out of there. With that, there was also Delilah Bard, who was in Grey London and then discovered the other Londons with Kel throughout the series. And if you don't know really anything about it, definitely look it up. It is, if you like a good fantasy, you like a good, like, one-sit kind of read, the first 50 pages, as always with fantasies, are kind of a moot topic, as is everything. But overall, one of the most fantastic books I ever read was definitely that last one. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not really speaking all that much. But there's a character that shows up in book 2 that you don't have before, and you're just like, you love him. So, there is that. And I'm going to take longer to talk about these books because I am also cooking my dinner for me and my honey, which I'm going to open the recipe in Pinterest so I don't forget anything. The next one I don't own, and that would be the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. Mind the French, but that's literally the series name, which is a serial killer and an FBI agent have basically started seeing each other. And he's actually hunting her, and she doesn't figure that out until a little bit later. Absolutely stunning, absolutely fun. Hard-hitting. The only book I did not rate 5 stars in that 5-book series was the 3rd book. Wow. Because it just didn't end on a high. Like, every single thing had me, like, heart-pounding, wanting to read the next one. And there are trigger warnings for that book. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, a little bit of it was a little rough for me because I didn't read, at that point, anything dark or sensual in any sense of the word. Like, that was my first one that made more than just a mere mention of things. So do be mindful with that book and its trigger warnings. Definitely a really good book. Basically, the ending, the little epilogue area, like, shook me to my core. The end of that 5th book was like, I was at the end, or I thought was the end, and then they said there was, like, 20 more pages, and I'm like, okay. I have my Kindle Unlimited for, a couple more days. But I didn't give it a couple of days. I literally sat there because I had read, like, 3 of the books all in one sitting. They're not very long. They're, like, 100 pages average, probably. Right around 110 pages average. So they're, like, more, like, novella-y style sized. But when I tell you that ending hits hard, dude, I might even get that from my mom, okay? And my mom is, like, a big thriller reader. But it is so worth it. You like a good crime criminal-y-esque kind of book, but you also want, like, the hero's side of the story, definitely read it. And the context. Really goes into, like, mental healthy kind of stuff, too. So, again, be wary of your trigger warnings. Next book up was the first to a genre that I've ever read, which was a horror. I used it during my 24-hour marathon, which I will link here, which is episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. Basically, if you like kind of paranormally thrillery kind of horror books, from my understanding from what I've read, obviously I read it all. This took me, like, the entire day to read because I was so exhausted, but I read it and it was really good. Basically, it's a TV show with several different mediums. So you're kind of watching the show with like a TV show essentially in a book because it has scripts, it has journals, it has emails and text messages. But anything not on camera or paper, you don't get to see. So you can only literally see what they're seeing at the moments it's happening. Cameras cut, all that stuff. Like, it was freaking amazing. Like, I knew it was a slower start, which is probably why it took me so long. And it was the first book that I picked for the morning. So, that happens with books. But let me tell you something. once I hit like the halfway mark, I could not put it down. And I needed to take my dog for a WALK because I can't say the word because she'll want to go and it's pitch black outside, which is why I'm using improvised lighting tonight. Which I had perfect light earlier, so I am upset at myself, but that's besides the point. But no. There's a little bit of body horror in that. Obviously, it is a horror book. But just, again, check your trigger warnings. A good place to check any trigger warnings, just so you are aware, is Storygraph. That's the program I am now using instead of Goodreads. It just makes everything easier. It has author and person, like audience trigger warnings that you can go through. The reviews are structured so much better. There is both a free version and a paid version. And I use the free version, honestly. And you basically get a good load of stuff out of it, which is amazing. My next book up was The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, which I read for book club, and I read the actual novel afterwards, because for book club I was a little late, because it was my first book club, and they're like, it's in 2 days, here's the graphic novel version. The graphic novel version, I'm not going to lie to you, was really hard to get through, and it wasn't because it was bad. It was amazing. It's a 5-star read for me. I think it's a book that every single woman especially needs to read once in their life, even with the trigger warnings, and that's just because this stuff is happening in real life, in real places, and it's terrifying to see it go on even to this day. The novel is definitely a lot worse. It goes into way more detail. So, if you want to read it, but you're weary because of the trigger warnings in it, look at the graphic novel version. It's still heavy, it still hits hard, it's still really hard to read. But let me tell you, it is worth the read. So, that is that one. We're going to let that cook for like another minute or two. We're going to turn it on low though. My next one up from there was another library banned book club book that I also don't own, which is The Librarian of Burned Books by Brianna LaBusks, sorry. It's World War II historical fiction. It does have trigger warnings again. So in World War II, actually what happened to people that were in Germany, both living there and visiting there, that were like invited, that were not actual Jewish people as well. So it's LGBTQIA inclusive. I mean, the stuff that happens in that book. I have my entire planner literally filled up with quotes from that book. It was so good, and the bookstore that I am working at, I am not going to name it, so please do not ask. If you know, please do not comment it. Somebody like offered that book, and she's like, I don't know which one to start first. And I'm like, if you want my opinion, I don't know if you're really asking for it, but I just read this for book club, and my entire planner is filled with quotes from this book. It is thought-provoking, and it shows you things that you didn't even realize were happening in World War II, because we've heard from survivors on the Jewish side, which is still hard-hitting. But these are actual people that dealt with like the problems that were also German, that were the blonde hair, blue-eyed, and everything, and it was just horrific. And I think we sometimes forget that there were actual people there that did suffer and ended up in those camps as well. But it did hit a little hard, and I do really enjoy that book. It was a 5-star read. I actually almost teared up a bit, so... but I'm an emotional person, so... but it definitely thought-provoked a lot of things into me. Okay, perfect. Okay. Next up, what time is it? Okay, he should be home soon, hopefully. Hopefully I'm done this video by then. The next book that I have up... Oh, my goodness. There are 2 of them, but I only grabbed one of them because this was the most recent, which is Heartstopper, Volume 4 and 5. Dealt with mental health disorders, eating disorders, and a lot of other stuff, but they did it in such a realistic way. And these books are already near and dear to me because I started reading them when my 15-and-a-half-year-old dog passed away from us. But those books, God, I cried so much, and that could again be because my dog passed away. But if you want something easily digestible, easily can read in a sitting, that is a little heavier hitting, and it's like 200 pages of graphic novel, which I think the recent one was like 300 and something, but they're really good. They take about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours of your time. Read them. They are very insightful. They do deal with other aspects, like in the first couple books, which I did not rate 5 stars, with like some levels of abuse and homophobia and all of that, and people that dealt with it and how they dealt with it. Again, it was absolutely amazing. It was one of my last reads of the year. And my last read of the year was one of the worst reads that I had all year. But that's besides the point. We're just talking about the 5-star reads today. And that is the 5-star reads. So, essentially, those are all for that. Now, let's talk about the 2024 reading goal. We're going to go realistic first. We're not going to do the insanity goal. Realistic goal is 100 books on my physical TBR. Now, physical TBR means a multitude of things. I hope I wasn't supposed to add that seasoning to the rice because I added it to the beef. I think I was supposed to add it to... Whoops. It's okay. I'd rather have my meat taste like taco than my rice. Essentially, I've bought so many books. I own 492 of them, and I have a lot of new releases. I have my new releases all pre-ordered and ready to be shipped, so I will also be adding that to the impossible goal. But for that, I'm just going to mood read 100 books this year. I mean, it's like not that many. So, like 2 a week, which I'm easily manageable, easily can do. Especially because I do have, like, mangas and stuff that I haven't read that I own, and all of that. Not just that, I'm going to be, I just joined a science fiction book club here where I'm living. And I'm really excited to start it. I'm actually waiting for the book to come in because it's not currently available. Which I might be able to get it off Libby, so I'm going to check that too. Libby is the best tool ever that I could have in this country. Not going to lie. And I'm going to read that, and I'm going to go to a book club because it is on my day off. It's on a Monday, guys. It's on a Monday. So I'm really excited about that. Other than that, the impossible reading goal. Again, I own 492 books. So the impossible reading goal is 453 of them. So I have read about 40 of the books that I currently own. And I did not include in those 42 books, which I could have, and I could have had a lesser goal, but that kind of defeated the purpose of impossible, was books that I don't remember, books that I literally loved as a kid and kept them. So, all those books that I haven't read in the last year are all on that list, and I am totally ready, totally down. I have 2 things to help out with that goal. The first one being, Owlcrate sent me a reading planner. So it's going to help me plan out my books, which I haven't started filling out yet. And it gives me reviews. It asks me wrap-ups for the end of the month, like, how did I actually read these books and all of that. So, that's going to be a lot of fun. I've started a book that's not on my physical TBR already, which is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, for an audiobook for my drives to and from work, because it's an hour each way, so I can do about 2 hours a day, which I know is a really long audiobook, but you know what? It's going to be fine. Now, the other thing that I have that I really like, and we're going to probably turn this off here in a minute, because that is getting a little sticky, is something that my best friend gave me. You might know them on here, or you might know them also on Instagram as Hero or Elliot, published author. And they actually sent me, in my favorite color, another reading planner, which I think I've decided I'm going to use for all my favorite books. And there's full review sheets, and then at the way beginning, there's like an overall rating, list. And there's 100 in there. So if I have 100 favorite books this year, we're going to have a problem. But that's besides the point. So those are both my impossible and plausible goals for for reading. My dog's looking at me like, Mom, hurry this up. And I'm like feeling the same because this is going to take me a while to edit and I'm already at like 34 minutes. So essentially, we also have writing goals this year. And those would be 2023, we're going to do the wrap up first, which was basically getting back into writing completely. Though I was, yes, already into writing again. But I wasn't completely. So we got back into writing. We finished the entire series to changing, like, the Exiled series. Wow, I said Changing Fates, because I have it ready. Basically, my CP partner gave it a green light, other than moving a couple of things around. My partner's reading it for me to be able to then edit and then get to betas this year, which is a part of the goals for this year. And then I also found my favorite writing program of all time, which is NovelPad. I have gone through so many, and that has been my favorite. I know people will suggest Scrivener day in and day out, but there is no way, after losing over 100,000 words to them, and them basically saying, well, even with backups, you lost it. And I had like triple. So, is what it was. Not for me. Not going to go back to it ever. If you have any other suggestions for me to try, my favorite's definitely been NovelPad. Other than that, I do want to finish writing the actual full project that I did on NovelPad, which is my Normanlo project, which was near and dear to my heart, because it was something my brother and I always did when we were kids. And basically, from there, we are going to be writing the first draft, like finishing it up, and then possibly writing a second first draft in a different way, without looking at the outline that I currently had for it. And there is going to be a cut in this video because I have to get the table set and my partner is getting home. So I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Oof. Okay. So I am honestly on the floor right now in the bathroom because my shelf is not high enough. But we're going to continue filming now and get that done. I'm pulling my notes back up to remember where I left off, which was talking about my writing goals. So I know I spoke about Normanlo, and now it was near and dear to my heart. And after going over a little bit of the video, I didn't really tell you guys what I wanted to do with that, so we're going to start there. Which in reality, what I want to do is I actually think I want to query that project because I don't know if I care very much if things have to be changed later, unlike the Exiled series. But also while I'm in the bathroom is I'm doing my night routine. So you guys are going to literally watch how my night routine works too. So you guys kind of get a mini vlog out of it. But yeah, no, essentially, I don't know if I care so much about it changing like later on. So, it can and I'd be fine with it. It's just one of those things. Yes, it was something my brother and I did when we were kids, but it's not something that I necessarily care about. I might write them all first, because there is technically a prequel series to them. But I don't know. Maybe that prequel series will just like stay near and dear to me and my brother, which is very, very, very important to me. So it's just one of those things. I'm going to let that. So there is that when it comes to that. Honestly, I just want to keep writing. I don't want to like lose sight of writing again, for any reason. I mean, depression or not, like, I stopped writing because I was in a bad place, and honestly, I feel like I was most depressed when I wasn't writing, so why would I just, like, stop writing? I mean, there's no other, like, reasons, and stuff like that, and I know most serums go on your entire face. This one is more of a spot serum that you're supposed to use for acne, which I haven't had much of a problem with lately, but we're going to try to keep it that way. So, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those projects, it's like, either way, we'll be fine, and, it is what it is, so. And my setup for that, is basically, again, my NovelPad, dual screening, but because I'm moved, and I don't have a desk yet here, so I have it ordered. It'll actually be here tomorrow. Got it off Amazon. I got an L shape so I can do both my gaming and that kind of in two different stations on the same desk, but that way I'm able to film too. So once I actually start streaming, which I do want to do because I feel like it would be more of a fun hobby, but I could still like make it so people could enjoy it, because my friends do always ask me if they see me online if I'm able to just stream it to them. So I feel like that's a kind of a good spot to kind of do it, and I've skipped a step. Thankfully I didn't put the moisturizer on. So there is that. Alright, I have to get a little closer because I can't see my spots. But yeah, there's basically that, and I have one really weird on my lip lately. When it comes to the writing. So that's basically my structure, my setup, and I put it as a habit on my habit tracker. Whether it's like on my daily one, I don't have to do it daily. As long as I'm thinking about it daily, we're good. So I might start using Pinterest again. I am definitely going to be using my Spotify more this year, though. It said I listen to like a lot. I don't remember my exact number in my thing, but I just remember that it was like a lot. So I'm gonna wash my hand real quick because I have a lot of serum-y stuff on my hand, and I'm gonna put moisturizer all over my face when the last thing I applied was a spot treatment and eye cream. So that's that with that one. With all the other stuff, like, we're gonna kind of chit chat for a moment about the difficulty with all the goals. Obviously, the most obvious one being I'm not gonna read 1.5 books a day unless they're all graphic novels or animes, mangas. So, which I absolutely do adore. I don't own a lot though, because there's so many typically in like a series, so I don't like to own all of them. Unless I like really want to read it. Like Your Lie in April, I think I have almost all of them. It's not a super long one, and I think I have almost all of the Death Notes. Did I say Your Name instead of Your Lie in April? I don't know, but I have the Your Names and the Your Lie in Aprils. I don't have all the Your Lie in Aprils. I don't have all the Death Notes. I do have all of the Your Names. I have Wolf Children, which, my God, did I cry to that manga. Which I know is on the list. I just don't remember it very much. For the book video, for reading and all of that. As I'm running more water because I'm going to wash my hand now. But that's like obviously going to be the biggest difficulty, is going to be that. So, with writing, it's honestly just going to be staying consistent, and making sure that I do it. Especially when I'm doing the new job and I am trying to implement all these other goals for like both my mental health and regular goals. So like on my yearly chart that I do, I have a mental health side and then I have a regular side. So my mental health side does have a lot more this year, which I am more worried about the writing department because of that specifically. But I'm not necessarily saying that I'm not going to write because of it. It's just kind of one of those things that it may or may not like happen the way I want it to, and I have to be okay with it. So, it is what it is in that department. Hydration is key, guys. Yeah, basically that is what it is. With the regular goals, basically just tracking my habits and stuff like that. I'm basically setting a reminder on my phone and making sure my tablet is charged at all times. I had it at 100% today. It's at 70, and I charged it in the middle of the day because I've been using it for everything. But mental health, I also have to be able to forgive myself. So when I am struggling one day, I can't just be like, hey, you're struggling. You can't be struggling. Like, that's not cool. Like, you know, you can't do that to yourself, because if you do that to yourself, then you're quite literally screwed. And by screwed, basically you're setting yourself up for disaster, and then you're going to resent everything that you are trying to do, and then it makes it impossible to actually do it. And I've done that. I've completely burnt out and not given a crap and kept going until I like actually burned out, and then it was just like, I don't want to do it at all. I'm pulling all my bangs down. So you have to be careful with all of that. Because I still do it. I say I don't really do it, but guess what? I do it. I know I do it. I think that might be all of it. And that is what it is. I know I'm like on and off my knee because I may or may not have re-hurt my anti band today, guys. Because I'm special like that. It's just, you have to take care of yourself, unfortunately. Not literally, unfortunately. You do got to take care of yourself. So I've done it with the food, and I know I don't have a video of the food, but I'll try to, like, take one, or actually, I'm going to do you guys one better. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like here. Can I pull up a picture of it? I can. So this is what I made, except I made it a little bit healthier. I used, like, a light sour cream for my stomach, because I'm lactose intolerant, but it's actually the fat content that bothers me and not really anything else. So, I mean, there is that, which is good to know. But, other than that, we use the healthy white cheddar version of the Doritos, and we also didn't do refried beans, mostly because I can't stand the texture. So if he wanted them, I told him he could, and I could just like put it to the side, and then he could put them in his, because you literally can make those individually, then mix the rice and the burger, which is like super, super nice. So that's basically what we did. We made 2 containers of like burger and rice, and we do have a lot of rice left over because you're supposed to use the leftover rice, but anyway. Back to the mental health thing. Basically taking care of yourself. So I've been doing a lot of walking, and I've been doing a lot of cooking, and it has nothing to do with New Year's. So, and I know that's like a big thing. It's like most people will say, this is my New Year's resolution. But the resolutions don't work because they're not your goals. And that's just reality. They are not your goals. I'm going to quickly blow dry this, and we will get back to our conversation. So I'm finishing this video a lot later, but that is perfectly fine. We were talking about some New Year's resolutions and the difference between resolutions and goals, and clearly I've built me a desk, so now I kind of have a spot for my computer and working and all that. I have a game up because this is the first time in a while, and then I can sit and relax. I have empty boxes and stuff everywhere, so please mind the mess behind me. Still working on that. But the real big difference between a resolution and a goal is basically what can and can't be done. So a resolution tends to be things that people think that they can start and do all at once. They burn out on it, and then they just can't do it. And then with a goal, essentially what you're doing is you're working on building habits to then do a long-term goal over time, and that makes things a lot easier. It doesn't really negate your mental health as much as a resolution and putting all of this list of things that you made and just like throwing it at you, which can be quite crazy, you know? I mean, there's nothing really else to say about that. Other than that, I don't know if there was anything else I actually wanted to talk to you guys about, and that would be sad if this was the only reason I hadn't finished the video, right? No, and that's basically all I wanted to talk about, because if people are looking at it as a resolution and a way to get it all done and all at once, then, I mean, it can negate their mental health, and that's why a lot of projects don't even get finished, and people don't really get started on what they want to do. So changing that can change your perspective on things. So maybe instead of resolutions, look at goals, especially if you are one that definitely struggles in that aspect. And my hair is everywhere because it's kind of, yeah, it's a lazy day. I didn't want to do it, so it just stayed. It's a snow day. It's snowing like mad, and I'm snowed in. I couldn't go to work, so that sucked. Other than that, the way I'm going to keep succeeding is I'm going to keep using the planner that I have here on my tablet. I'm going to keep my poopy.
which she's like right there, but she's like out. She's either there or she went to the bedroom because there was a snowblower going on earlier. And then I have my partner in crime who is currently at work, and other than that, we're doing good. I have 2 books over here because I keep forgetting things are inverted, which are both Crescent Cities by Sarah J. Maas, because the bookstore that I work at is doing a midnight release, so I am the only one that read it. So I'm rereading it just to get enough notes and stuff planned for us to have things to do for 2.5 hours, which is going to be a blast, but it's going to keep me pretty busy. But I'm super, super excited, and I can't wait to tell you guys how things are going later as we continue doing this stuff. So other than that, I hope you guys had a really good New Year's and a really good holiday. If you want, we will go over, probably do a mini vlog, because I've moved out, moved in, and now I can actually start vlogging again, and get some writing goals and stuff done, because I haven't written at all this year yet. So, I think it's about time. I'm at least going to download my projects because I never renewed my membership to my favorite writing program, and well, I moved, okay? There's some expenses to go on, and I'm not going to put a writing program above, oil, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I'm going to get to writing and, get to gaming today to relax and clean up a little bit more. I did do a bunch of unpacking. I have 4 boxes over there, and I unpacked this entire desk, so I have all my writing stuff on this side of the desk and all my gaming stuff here, except this is a book I checked out from the bookstore that I currently work at, and my notebook to take notes on, because I am thriving. I have my mental health goal list, and I'm going to start by actually trying to work on myself. So I will hope to see you guys around, and see you soon.